Let's explore the spectacular temple complex of Seti I. The Great Temple of Abydos, Temple of the Kings. It is where the deified kings of ancient Egypt were celebrated, and was a place of pilgrimage, worship, and initiation into the cult of Osiris. It is the largest surviving ancient temple in Abydos. Construction of the temple began by Seti I in the 19th dynasty, and the temple yard and first hypostyle hall were arranged by his son, Ramses II. It has an unusual L-shaped ground plan constructed primarily of limestone and sandstone. It is debated if Seti I was unaware of the existing subterranean Osireion located here at the rear of the temple, and had to modify the floor plan into the L configuration, or if he knew about the Osireion and intentionally built the temple in this configuration, which is what I believe. And I also believe the functionality of the Osireion was incorporated within the temple. Here is a layout of the Temple of Seti I that will help orientate you as we explore. We are now making our way up the first ramp staircase, and we will investigate the two wells.
One was like a well, and the second one was a room. They get honey on it. Yes.
These two wells that flank either side of the entrance to the Temple of Seti I may represent the two pillars that we later see in alchemy and Freemasonry, the positive and the negative. The water source has been determined to be separate from that of the Osireion.
ابو حازم عايزك عندي في الغرفه بتاعتك.
We are now approaching the third ramp staircase, which leads to the portico, where there are 12 sandstone columns. This forms the facade and the 7 gates, all of which, but the central, were closed by Ramses II, and leads to the first hypostyle hall, where there are 24 columns, and you will see sacred numbers used all throughout this temple. I'm Lex Levy, and this is Ancient Odysseys. Today, we're here in Abydos, at the temple attributed to Seti I, father to King Ramses II. We'll first explore inside. We'll pass through the 7 gates, investigate the King's List, and the quote-unquote helicopter hieroglyphics. And after that is something extremely special. In part 2, we investigate the Osireion with special permission access. My husband, Jeffrey Drum, is a member of the Mission Osireion 7 Archaeological Project, and you can follow his exceptional research and his work on his channel at the Land of Chem. And for exclusive Osireion footage, join his members-only channel. Be sure to watch his episode 118, The Function of the Osireion, which is one of my favorites. And you can follow each stage of the Mission Osireion 7 project on the Abydos Project's website. The link is in the video description below. One thing I'm certain of, the Temple of Seti still holds some secrets. As a matter of fact, lots of them. One day, a patient archaeologist may come to Abydos to investigate all its unknown and fascinating possibilities. Maybe he will stir the enthusiasm and admiration of the entire world. Maybe with something bigger and more important than Lord Carnarvon's discovery of Tutankhamun's mortuary treasures in 1922. Seti. This is a picture of Jeffrey standing where Seti once stood, at the portico of the Temple of Seti I. Dorothy Louise Eady, also known as Seti, was the keeper of Abydos, Temple of Seti I, and was a draftswoman for the Department of the Egyptian Antiquities. She is known for her belief that in a previous life she had been a priestess in ancient Egypt, as well as her considerable historical research at Abydos. Her story is fascinating, and I highly recommend you looking her up. It's Horus and Osiris on the left. Horus holds the crux and flail. And Thoth, god of wisdom. Here Horus is giving the key of life. We are about to pass through the first series of 7 gates, and we see the symbolism of 7 gates repeated throughout the structures in ancient Egypt. The ancient Egyptians believed that in the netherworld, the Duat, there were various gates, doors, and pylons, crossed every night by the solar boat Atet of the sun god Ra, and by the souls directed to the world of the dead. I will explore each of the 7 gates that terminate into 7 chapels dedicated to 7 gods, namely the deified Seti I, Ptah, Ra-Harakti, Amun-Ra, Osiris, Isis, and Horus. I will begin at Gate 1 here and proceed all the way to 7. Interestingly, only Gate 5 opens up to further chambers, the Osiris Hall, and chapels dedicated to Isis, Osiris, and Horus. You can see 7 gates represented in the construction here at the Temple of Hathor in Dendera, and again at Qasr el-Saga in the Fayum Oasis, and also represented here as a false door in Karnak, the 7 gates, and next to it, the 7 keys of light. I believe the sacred number 7 could represent the 7 stages in the alchemical process, or perhaps the 7 chakras, or the 7 classical planets and their associated metals. But why is it that Gate 5 is the only way to additional chambers? Given that there are various interpretations on the order of the alchemical stages and classical planet, metal, organ, and chakra associations, I believe that the chapel of Gate 4, the largest and only gilded chapel, represents the sun, and the heart or solar plexus chakra, and Gate 5 represents the throat. This is interesting because Schwaller de Lubix, in his book, The Temple of Man, connects the Holy of Holies in the Temple of Luxor with the throat chakra.
All right, let's go. We're in the hypostyle hall now. And before me are the 7 gates. I'm walking the path of the ancient initiates. It's amazing how the light shines through the apertures of the ceiling.
I believe those 7 cells in that particular structure are connected to the 7 stages of the alchemical process. Now you've seen the 7 gates. And look at that. Cross through.
Let's begin at Gate 1. Here's Sekhmet, the lion goddess, war. Here are the controversial, quote-unquote, helicopter hieroglyphics.
The walls of the Temple of Seti I are keeping a log of the pharaonic history. Upon the death of Seti I, his son, King Ramses II, took over the completion of the temple, and he had his artists plaster over many of the cartouches of Seti I and updated it with his name as the governing king. This was a common practice during the time of King Ramses II. On a lintel in the first hypostyle hall, you can see the overlap of hieroglyphics, as some sections of the covering plaster has fallen away over time. Looking at this through a modern lens, these two layers of hieroglyphics create a helicopter and spaceship-like form.
Gate 1. Gate 3.
If you want to help support our adventures, please like, share, subscribe, and pick up some badass Ancient Odysseys merch. The link is in the video description below. Also, please subscribe to our 2 new channels, Egyptian Trash Cats, where we document our saga in caring for the street cats of Egypt, and Egypt Eats, for all of our crazy culinary adventures. Thank you all very much.
fifth gate. This opens up to the Osiris Hall.
So Seti represented himself like an Osiris, and he represented himself like high priest is burning incense in the front of Osiris. And the difference is that
And these are different chapels dedicated to each god. Raharakti. Above me is Horus, falcon-headed god. Some glyphs of jet pillars. On the eastern and western walls, there are 5 cells. And now the 7th gate. Here's the king's list, starting with 0 Dynasty, Menes, or also known as Narmer.
This is the Abydos Kings list, and it was a part of a ritual in which the spirits of the ancestors were invoked. The names of the past kings and queens who were not deemed worthy were excluded. It was important for the ruling king to emphasize that he or she was the legitimate descendant of a long line of rulers, and therefore the uncontestable legitimate king of Egypt. The cartouches of the kings are organized chronologically. The top register starts with Menes, or Narmer, on the left, and on the far right, Seti I. 18 Heracleopolitan kings and the first 4 kings of the 11th dynasty are not mentioned, as well as the heretical king Akhenaten. This concludes our expedition to the Temple of Seti I. Stay tuned for part 2, where we investigate the Osireion.
Apparition.
That's awesome.
If you want to help support our adventures, please like, share, subscribe, and pick up some badass Ancient Odysseys merch. The link is in the video description below. Also, please subscribe to our 2 new channels, Egyptian Trash Cats, where we document our saga in caring for the street cats of Egypt, and Egypt Eats, for all of our crazy culinary adventures. Thank you all very much.